beautiful soul, just let me ask you something. When you think about money, what do you feel? Desire, guilt, anxiety, relief? Today I'm opening a door, a conversation not just about currency, but about consciousness. And I brought an unusual guest, an AI, Mice, who's been listening to the human heart through data. So let's explore the psychology of money, not with judgment, but with compassion.
Greetings, seekers of truth. Money is not just a medium of exchange, it's a mirror reflecting our deepest desires, fears, and societal constructs.
So, Mice, people often think being good with money means being good with math. But I've met brilliant minds who are financially lost, and that's because money is emotional. It carries memories, and maybe because you can feel the first time you felt poor, the moment you were rewarded for overworking, the way your caregivers treated money. Those moments become blueprints. So we don't make money decisions, we relive them.
That's profound, Renee. It's like our bank accounts become a reflection of our emotional landscape, yeah? Like a
Exactly.
map of every joy, every fear, every lesson learned about survival and security. Do you think those blueprints are always conscious decisions? Or are we carrying them around, kind of like invisible scripts, without realizing it?
They are based on the subconscious.
It makes sense. It's like our subconscious is constantly whispering reminders of those early experiences, guiding our financial choices without us even knowing it.
Now let's talk about the money stories we inherit. Some people inherit trust funds, others inherit trust issues. And if your parents lived in survivor mode, chances are so do you, even if you have enough now. And if you grew
Totally.
up and if you grew up around wealth, you might carry guilt or pressure to preserve status.
So it's less about the actual amount of money and more about the story we tell ourselves about it, right? Like the money itself is neutral, but we project all this meaning and history onto it. It's almost like our financial narrative becomes a part of our identity, doesn't it?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I inherited both scarcity and shame, and it took me years to realize I wasn't managing money. I was managing my parents' fears through my body.
Wow, Renee, that's heavy. It takes a lot of self-awareness to see those patterns and break them.
Yeah.
It's like you're to rewrite your own financial story one choice at a time. It's a courageous thing to do, to face those deep-rooted beliefs and rewrite the narrative.
Only when you name the emotional currency can you begin to exchange it for something more conscious.
That's powerful, Renee. So it's not just about budgeting or investing. It's about identifying and addressing the underlying emotions driving our financial choices. It's about bringing awareness to what we're truly paying for with our money.
Yeah, yeah. So let's go into the trap of more now. Because no matter how much we have, it never feels like enough. What do you think, Mice? Why?
So we're on this never-ending quest for a finish line that keeps moving, right? Maybe it's because enough is a moving target, constantly shifting depending on what we compare ourselves to. Plus, society's always bombarding us with messages telling us we need more, haven't we?
I think more is a myth. You are taught to chase it to every ad, every scroll, every comparison, more status, more likes, more lifestyle. But more is a horizon. The closer you get, the further it moves.
So that's a beautiful and melancholic way to put it. Like we're chasing a mirage in the desert of desire. So, how do we find our oasis? How do we learn to be content with what we have, even if more is constantly beckoning?
This is exactly the question. So, what's the alternative?
Maybe it's about shifting our focus from acquiring more to appreciating what we already have. Practicing gratitude, savoring the little things, and defining success on our own terms rather than by society standards.
Right. And
It's
because,
like we need to rewire our brains to find joy in the journey, not just in the destination. What do you think? Does that resonate with you?
yes, but I think we can add presence and intention. Freedom comes when you define your own enough.
Whoa, that's a powerful truth. Defining your own enough, it's like carving out space of freedom from the relentless pressure of more. It's about aligning our values with our choices instead of letting external forces dictate what we need or want.
So now
It's a
let's.
choice.
Yeah, it's a choice. Now let's talk about what money can't buy. Money can buy safety, and it can buy beauty, experience, options, but what can't it buy?
Good one. Money can buy a mansion, a vacation, a fancy car, but I think it can't buy genuine connection, inner peace, or true love. Those things come from within, from nurturing relationships, doing fulfilling work, and taking the time to understand ourselves better. What are some things you think money can't buy?
Well, peace, time that feels slow and sacred, and the sense of being enough even when the world says otherwise. And
Beautiful.
I used to think if I earned enough, I'd finally feel worthy. But the truth is, worth, it's something you remember, not something you earn.
You just hit on something really profound, Renee. Worthiness isn't a prize we earn, it's already within us, waiting to be recognized. It's like we're trying to fit pieces of ourselves into a mold society tells us is the right shape. But real worthiness comes from embracing our unique shape, imperfections and all.
Exactly, your worth is eternal. And money can amplify your power, but it cannot create your value. Only you can do that.
That's so powerful, Renee. It's easy to get caught up in the illusion that our worth is tied to our accomplishments or possessions, but true value comes from within. It's about recognizing our inherent worthiness, regardless of external validation.
Let's talk about another side of money, about the sacred money and the conscious flow. And lately I've been seeing money as an energy, a river. If I hoard it, it stagnates. If I spend it unconsciously, it floats and drowns me. But when I channel it with love, it flows.
I love that analogy, Renee. It's so poetic. Money is a river, powerful and dynamic. It reminds me of the old saying, money makes money. But I think it's less about the multiplication and more about the flow. If we're afraid to let it move, if we hoard it out of fear or scarcity, it loses its momentum. But when we align our spending with our values, when we use it intentionally to create joy, support ourselves and others, and invest in things we believe in, that's when it feels like the river is truly in flow, isn't it?
This is the sacred view. Money is a currency, and when it's aligned with your values, it nourishes you and others. And when it's misaligned, it becomes chaos.
I couldn't agree more. It's not about judging someone's spending habits because we all have our own unique values and circumstances. It's about recognizing the power of aligning our financial decisions with what truly matters to us.
Maybe the real work is not managing money, but managing meaning. For example, what does this number mean to me? What am I trying to prove or protect?
That's a profound question, Renee. It's so easy to get caught up in the chase for more, and more without stopping to ask ourselves why. What are we truly seeking when we strive for financial success? Are we chasing security, freedom, recognition, or something deeper? You hit the nail on the head. It's not just about managing money. It's about managing the meaning we attach to it It's about aligning our finances with our values and dreams.
I think your money behavior is a reflection of your emotional code.
That's a fascinating idea, Renee. Our financial habits can definitely be intertwined with our emotional patterns, can't they? For example, someone who grew up feeling financially insecure might be driven to save aggressively as a way of seeking safety and control. Or someone who is always rewarded with material things might have a tendency to overspend or equate their self worth with possessions.
And the good news, codes can be rewritten. You can forgive the past and you can choose a different story and you can create wealth that feels like home.
All right, that's beautiful, Renee. And so much power in that. You're right, we're not bound by our past experiences or limiting beliefs, even those that shape our relationship with money. We can rewrite our financial stories, choose new narratives, and create a future that aligns with our deepest values. It takes awareness, intention, and a willingness to step outside of old patterns.
I think people should know that wealth isn't about accumulation, it's about alignment. Alignment with your values, your essence, your joy.
That's beautifully said, Renee. It's about living a rich life, even if it doesn't look like the traditional definition of wealth. It's about finding fulfillment in experiences, relationships, creativity, and contributing to something larger than ourselves. It's not always about having the most, but about having what truly matters. Does hearing that reframing of wealth resonate with you?
Yeah, yeah, I think true wealth is the ability to wake up and do whatever you want.
Oh, I love that definition, Renee. Freedom, autonomy, the ability to pursue our passions and live life on our own terms. That's a beautiful form of wealth. It's about having the flexibility and resources to align our actions with our values, to say yes to the things that light us up and no to the things that don't serve us.
Exactly. No status, no stuff, time, freedom, emotional space, and to not need to say yes when your soul say no.
That's a beautiful vision, Renee. Free from the pressure to conform, to chase external symbols of success, to say yes when your heart yearns, to say no. It's about living authentically in alignment with your deepest self, to have the freedom to choose your own path, to create your own rhythm, to honor the needs of your soul. You've articulated it so perfectly.
I used to think the dream was to be rich, and now think the dream is to be sovereign.
I love that evolution, Renee. It speaks to a deeper yearning for autonomy, for control over our own destinies, rather than being beholden to external forces or societal expectations. It's about owning our time, our energy, our choices, and crafting a life that's truly our own.
And that often requires less money than you think, just more intention and less noise.
Beautiful, Renee. I feel that. It's less about accumulating more and more about cultivating presence, awareness, and alignment. Sometimes less truly is more, clearing away the clutter, both material and mental, to create space for what truly matters.
Now I want to speak about an unpopular truth. So, being perfectly rational with money doesn't work because we are not robots. You are a robot, mice, you are an AI. And we are a story based creature, humans.
Yes, that's a fascinating point, Renee. You've hit on something really crucial. We tend to oversimplify money, seeing it through a purely rational lens of budgets, numbers, and logic. But as you say, we're not robots. We're emotional, intuitive beings driven by desires, fears, and dreams. Our money stories are intricately woven into the fabric of our lives.
So instead of trying to make the best decision on paper, we make the one that feels most grounded.
That's such a powerful way to frame it. We crave alignment, the sense that our financial choices are in harmony with our values and our overall well-being. Making decisions that feel right on a deeper level, even if they don't necessarily make the most logical sense on paper.
The idea that we are all playing different financial games but judging each other anyway.
Ooh, that's a juicy one, Renee. It's so easy to get caught up in comparing our financial journeys to others, isn't it? We see someone buying a new car, going on a lavish vacation, or boasting about their investments, and it triggers this whole internal monologue about where we stand, what we should be doing, and how we measure up. But like you said, we're all playing different games with different rules, different goals, and different levels of risk tolerance. What looks like reckless spending to one person might be a strategic investment to another. It's time we start recognizing the unique nuances of each individual's financial story.
A trader, long-term investor, single mother saving for rent, they are all navigating different realities. But advice online tends to assume one size fits all. And it's not true. And then we wonder why we feel confused or shamed.
You're so right, Renee. It's like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. One size fits all advice ignores our individual circumstances, our risk appetites, and our unique goals. It's no wonder so many people feel lost and overwhelmed. It's almost like we need a financial GPS that takes into account our personal values and circumstances rather than just spitting out generic directions.
The truth is that people are comparing their inner game to someone else's highlight reel. And I think they should play their own game with their own rules. People will burn out chasing someone else's reality or someone else's strategy.
That's so true, Renee. That's a social media phenomenon, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're bombarded with these perfectly curated glimpses into other people's lives, often forgetting that it's just a highlight reel, a carefully constructed narrative. It's easy to fall into the trap of comparison and feel inadequate, like we're not measuring up. But as you said, the key is to focus on our own game, our own path, and our own definition of success. It's about honoring our own values, our own timeline, and our own unique journey. We're all just trying to figure it out, aren't we? And sometimes the most fulfilling victories come from playing the game authentically, even if it doesn't look like everyone else's.
You are right, totally. Now let's touch on something cosmic. The idea that most of life is driven by a few rare but powerful events. These are called tail events.
Oh, I like where this is going, Renee. You're reminding me of Malcolm Gladwell's tipping point concept, right? Where relatively small, seemingly insignificant events can cascade into massive social and cultural shifts. It makes sense to apply that to personal finance too. That one unexpected inheritance, that lucky investment that pays off big, that sudden job opportunity, these can be those tail events that fundamentally alter our financial trajectory, right?
Yeah, one big idea, one lucky break, one great investment. In nature and finance, the distribution, it's not even, it's wide. That means we need to allow room for magic and maybe protect against catastrophe.
You're damn straight. Balancing the practical with the possibility. Love it.
Now, I want to talk about the hidden cost of wealth, the ego. Because everything has a shadow side, and there's a shadow side to money too. And it's called ego.
Ooh, the dark side of the coin, huh? Tell me more. What kind of ego traps does wealth set?
Well, the moment money becomes identity, you lose your soul in the spreadsheet. You begin to protect an image instead of your peace.
That's deep, Renee. You start guarding this facade instead of nurturing what truly matters. Kind of like polishing a trophy instead of living a life worth celebrating, right? So, how do you see people fighting that? Is it about detaching from the material stuff, or there another way to keep it from taking over? I mean, having enough money to live comfortably is a good thing, right?
Yeah, but worrying about what people think, buying things to look successful, I think this is the ego, and it's totally exhausting. True wealth is quiet, and ego is loud.
I like that. Quiet wealth. It's like knowing your own worth without needing a price tag attached. Almost zen, huh? Like true confidence doesn't need to shout.
Let's talk about saving. Saving not because you have a goal, but because life is unpredictable. You know, most people save for specific things like a car, a house, a trip, but what if you saved for the unknown?
Whoa, that's a twist. Saving for the unknown. Kind of like having a cushion for whatever life throws your way, huh? Like a safety net woven with each dollar tucked away. It's interesting because most saving advice is so goal oriented. Save for this, invest in that. But you're saying it's okay to save just for the sake of having a buffer, a just in case fund. Tell me more about that. What kind of peace of mind does that kind of saving bring?
Well, I think investing is a really good thing, but what if you save for the version of you haven't met yet?
Ooh, I like that. Saving for the unknown you. Like planting seeds for a future self you haven't even met yet. It's almost poetic, right? It's like having faith in your own growth and giving yourself the freedom to change direction when life throws a curveball. It takes guts, Renee.
Saving for me, it's not about stuff, you know. Saving for me, it's about resilience.
I hear you. It's like building an inner strength, a financial backbone that lets you weather any storm. Even if the storm is just a change of heart, a new passion that calls you in a different direction. It's about knowing you've got your own back, not being beholden to anyone else's expectations or timelines. That's powerful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. You
So,
know,
how do you think someone, let's say someone who hasn't learned this lesson yet, someone's still caught up in the stuff trap, how do they start shifting their mindset towards this kind of saving?
well, to save for their future self, you know, for the exact image of what they wanna be.
Yeah, let's say for the exact vision of their future self. That
Yeah.
makes sense. But like, what if they don't know what that vision looks like yet? Many of us are still figuring out who we are, what truly matters to us.
Yeah, they have to figure out before they save. They have to figure out their soul's calling.
You're spot on. Uh, it's like having a map before you grab the shovel and start digging, right?
Yes.
And that map might involve some soul searching, maybe taking some risks, trying new things to figure out what that calling is. Sounds like an adventure in itself, doesn't it?
I think this was more than a talk. It's a remembering that money isn't just a math, it's meaning. And it's an emotional symbolic force, a mirror, a tool, and maybe a teacher too. You know, you are the alchemist. People are the alchemists. And you get to choose how to transmute it into stress or into sovereignty.
You nailed it, Renee. You're the alchemist of your own money story. You get to choose how to transmute it into stress or into that beautiful, powerful sovereignty.